Out of the box of containment, I go forward now, continuing to know for myself what I know in this moment, and desiring it for every person on this plane and for every living thing, in a state of blessing, blissful blessing. I now honor, I now acknowledge, I now present my gratitude and thanksgiving and my love and blessing and devotion to you, my source, as I release from deep within the center core of my being this truth that has come to me now into that wonderful receiving creative process, life itself, knowing, deeply knowing that I am responded to, and the answer is yes, as I say, and so it is. Could we have that music, please, now? And we just continue to sit still and quiet and listening.
I do not need to run ahead. I do not need to get away. I will stay right here, here in the present. 'Cause I know all is well here in the present. I do not need to run ahead. I do not need to get away. I will stay right here, here in the present. 'Cause I know all is well here in the present. I do not need to run ahead. I do not need to get away. I will stay right here, here in the present. 'Cause I know all is well here in the present. I do not need to run ahead. I do not need to get away. I will stay right here, here in the present. 'Cause I know all is well here in the present. I do not need to run ahead. I do not need to get away. I will stay right here, here in the present. 'Cause I know all is well here in the present. Yeah, I do not need to run ahead. I do not need to get away. I will stay right here, here in the present. I know all is well
I'm sure you have the melody within you now.
To get away.
I think we all get the point of it all. I was trying to get Blake's attention there, but it must have been that Spirit wanted us to hear this over and over and over again. Because the present is the place of power, the place of transformation, the place of happening, the place of change, the place of innovation, the place of turning around. Now I feel we've all turned around this morning already. That's what I feel. And I have a sense that we have all straightened our shoulders and made a decision to be more of the best of ourselves. And in so doing, make all of life more of the best of itself. Because that's how life works. We are so never able to think, to feel, or to do alone. It's impossible. Whatever we think, whatever we feel, whatever we do is affecting all of life. That's an awesome thing to know. Very few of us do. And so the gauntlet has been thrown down and we've picked it up now. And it behooves us to leave this room more enlightened than we entered it. To leave this room because we have decided to, chose to, be changed, and be changed for the better. And here's the thing about this thing called change. I must change, I must change, I must change. Change in that sense is an illusion, because I cannot change my truth and my true essence and nature. I don't have to change it. I have to awaken to it. I have to learn to recognize it, and I have to start to choose to live from it. And when I do, enormous change occurs. Not because I have changed, but I have recognized the truth of my being that creates change. Or I choose not to recognize the truth of my being, and I allow myself the illusion of thinking I am a less than whatever, causing change not for the better within myself and around me and about me, wherever I am. The whole reason why you and I are in this room today, why we take the classes, why we read the books, why we take the seminars, why we go on retreat, why we do all the things we do within the spiritual realm, is simply and solely so that we can understand that the master we're looking for is the master within ourselves. There is no master coming, no guru coming, no savior coming to do it for me. I am the master. I am the savior. I am the guru. I am that already. It is within me, and the truth essence of who and what I am. And look at the way I live, like a spiritual pauper. I am the sovereign of the kingdom that I am, and I choose to think, to feel, to act as a pauper. Dispossessed by myself of my own sovereignty. And what does that look like, my dear ones? It's very simple. It looks like all my pettiness, all of my narrow thinking, all of my smallness, all of my meanness, all of my complaints, all of my criticisms, all of my judgments of myself and everybody else. That's what that looks like. Spiritual pauperism, if there is a word. That's what that looks like. Here I am, donned with the royal robes of sovereignty, in domain of my own kingdom, and yet, I choose to live in a box that imprisons me, that narrows me, that confines me, that belittles me. No one else is the cause of it. This is the cause of it. Because I can choose. The most precious choice I have is the choice I can make in consciousness about myself, about you, about my world, about it all. Now I can relate to you as paupers too, and treat you like paupers, and judge you as paupers, and shake my finger at you as paupers, etc., etc. You know the picture well. Or I can choose to see you as the sovereigns that you are, and not acknowledge your nonsense when you demonstrate it, and not receive you at the level as you present yourself, with all your neediness and all your complaints and all your judgments and all your fears. But I can choose to see you far beyond that, at the truth level of your essence. And I can listen to you and all the time say, that which is blinded by the darkness of ignorance is now being illuminated by the light of infinite intelligence within you, in my own mind. And I would hope that you would do the same for me. I am no different to anyone in this room or anybody else on this planet. No difference at all. I am not different. I'm only different in the way I choose to think, the way I choose to believe, the way I choose to feel, and the way I choose to act. That's all. But in truth and in essence, I am no different. There's no higher, there's no lower. There's no greater, there's no small. There's none of that in the realm of the spirit. There's just spirit. And the interesting thing is, in the kingdom of heaven, there's no bowing, there's no suing, there's no begging, there's no pleading, there's no imploring, there's no asking, because all are equal. So you don't get to play king and everybody else pawns. You don't get to play queen and off with their heads. There's none of that. And yet look how we love kingdom stories. Oh, look, it's in our bones. Look at the children. Everybody wants to be the king. Everybody wants to be the queen. Everybody wants to be the hero, the heroine. Everybody wants to be in the lead role, but there is no lead role in the kingdom. Because in the kingdom we don't define ourselves as a separate entity apart from. In the kingdom we're all one life, one energy, one livingness, one awareness. And the mystery of it all is that although I'm aware of myself as an individuated, original, unique expression of that one life, I have no sense of separation. None whatsoever. I only have a sense of unified being. There's no describing it. I'm explaining it inadequately because I don't know how to explain what I don't fully comprehend, understand, or have experienced yet in this lifetime myself. But there's something in me that knows it's not this. And there's something in you that knows it's not this. And there's something in me that knows I'm more than this. All of it, whatever all of it is, the good, the bad, and the indifferent. And as we grow in wisdom and grace, we're so not into stuff and things anymore. We're into roots and wings. As we grow in wisdom and grace, less and less and less importance is attached to the status we imagine stuff and things bring us. We want simplicity. We want to go Zen-like. We want to clear it all out. Release ourselves from it. Walk away from it sometimes and just begin again in simplicity. Once upon a time, my domain was an 8x4 cell, what we call cells in the convent. And it was a dormitory when I was a young novice, learning, none in training. And it was divided by rails and curtains. That was my domain, that was my area, that was my space. And everybody respected each other's space like everybody respects children when they're working on their mats in Montessori. No child will go near another child's mat. That's their space, that's their mat. Then that got graduated to a room of my own. Oh my goodness. I had a room of my own eventually in convent life. And I thought I had died and gone to hotel heaven. And I loved it. I appreciated every single little thing that was in my domain. And now I have a house, and it's full of stuff. And there's so much stuff, I can't appreciate much of any of it. And as soon as I get the time, the inclination, as soon as all the moons and suns and stars are lined up to give me everything I need in order to just let it all go, I will do it. Because it's a burden now to me. And I remember a priest friend of mine once saying, when he came to give us a retreat, he belonged to an order of priests. There are orders of priests, and so they're religious orders of priests. Unlike your regular parish priests, they're secular priests in a way. They have much more freedom, and they have much more opportunity to define their own days and how the days go. But an ordered priest or an ordered nun follows the order, the spiritual order of the community or congregation they belong to. And so every day, every moment in every day is allotted. You'll be doing this and this time, and this at this time, and this at this time, and this at this time, and so on. And he was an ordered priest. And somebody, of course, in the community, in the lay community, gave him it was a gift of a transistor that's aging. It's a transistor radio. Oh gosh, we loved our transistor radios. transistors. We thought we had it made in high school. And he said he'd been given a few other things too, and things were lightening up even in the orders, and people were being given permission to, okay, you can use it, you can have it. You could have to say to the superior in the convent or the monastery, look, somebody gave me the gift, and they would either say, well, thank you very much, it's going into the common lot, or you may use it. And then he said he realized that all the things that he was starting to be given kind of had a tag around them that said, worry about me. Where did I leave it? Did I lose it? Whatever, that kind of thing. And I understood what he was saying. And so in a sense, the more of the great good stuff we get, it comes with that tag as worry about me. Whereas if you live a very simple life, and the stuff that you have is very simple, somehow or another you don't seem to have the same concern around your stuff. To me nowadays, a stone might be the most important thing to me. A stone that I happen to find in some wonderful moment or whatever, it can be a very simple little thing that nobody else would think was worth anything. And it might be worth more to me than a lot of the stuff I have. Not might, it would be. So I think we're being asked today to look at ourselves and to see how much we have stuffed ourselves to the point that we cannot see the wood for the trees. Either stuffed our heads with all kinds of ridiculous nonsense, stuffed our emotions with all kinds of ridiculous nonsense, stuffed our body with all kinds of stuff that's not good for us, and stopped our souls from being all that our souls can be as a result of all the stuff, the accumulation of piles of stuff. I think we have to start stripping down, stripping down until we get to the essence of ourselves. And that's not easy, because we have worn masks and cloaks and covers for so long, they become attached to us. Almost part of our body, and we don't want to give them up easily. It'd be like if I took this off, you'd be pulling off my face, If you took this cape away from me, you'd be pulling off my skin, kind of thing. That's how grafted onto us these thoughts, these stories, these imaginings, these feelings become so stuck to us. And they're not anything that belongs to us. They're not true to us. And so when we come to places like this and moments like this, we get challenged. And we don't like it a lot of the time. And sometimes because we don't like it, we don't come back. Because I don't want to hear that. I don't want that in my face all the time. I don't want to be brought to myself all the time, to be asked to look honestly and deeply within myself and see what's remiss, what's lacking, and what is being covered up as a consequence, and what has been hidden as a consequence, and what has been not allowed to reveal itself as a consequence of all this stuffing of myself, to medicate myself from the truth of my being. But medication only lasts for a time. Once the medication is gone, then I'm vulnerable again. When are we going to handle our stuff? Tomorrow? Well, you've seen how that works in your life. So when is the question? And there's only one answer to when, and it's always the one answer. And what is it? Yes, small little world with the full impact. When will I handle this? When am I ready for this? Now. So I guess I came in with a whole different thing. None of this was on the agenda for this morning. So you might know Spirit is saying to us all, I'm going to slap you up the side of the head now. That's all very nice and lovely, but...
We'll hear it next week.
Maybe. It depends on what the divine agenda is for you and for me today, or whenever it is. But as my mother would say, man proposes and God disposes. And so, what is the proposal that's coming to you right now? I'm going to pause for a minute. I'm going to ask you all to get quiet, and I'm going to ask you to see what's coming up in you right now. What are you feeling right now? What needs to be acknowledged right now? What do you need to be straight with yourself about right now? Let's do that. Just let's go quiet again. Let's close our eyes and extract ourselves from the outer world. Some of us may have a problem closing our eyes. Not so much closing them, but keeping them closed. But do it anyway. And allow Spirit to speak. Allow the intuition to come through. What am I supposed to get from this, beloved presence? What am I supposed to move on, beloved presence? How must I use what's been presented to me right now? And so I trust the power, I trust the presence within me, and I know it can only lead me from one good to the next, to the next, to the next, when I am awake, aware, consciously listening, and in the attitude of yes. Don't understand it, but yes. I'll follow the guidance, trusting that great good is the end result. And there it is, and so it is. And so we have our work cut out for us now. It just begins. The tapes, of course, the CDs came in. Grandmother Diane, when you weren't here, they were out there on Sunday. I think there's 2 left. And that I'm talking about the chanting tape. And I recommend greatly those chanting songs, because they do mesmerize us enough to distract us from the outer world and to evoke something within us that causes us to respond at a deeper level than we do when we're just listening to ordinary songs. Last night at class, one of the exercises they got for their meditation time, either to substitute it for meditation time or to do it in addition to meditating time, was to take their meditation time, sit down, choose a piece of music, either spiritual music and their chants, or a piece of music without words from the secular world, and just sit and listen to it, doing nothing else but to be present to the music, sit and listen to the music without doing anything else or focusing on anything else. It's a sound meditation. It's a beautiful way to spend some time and to gift ourselves in that way. These chants would be a way to do that. Or you can take a piece of classical music or whatever kind of music that is without words that you love. Sit and be present to it. And it's teaching us how to be present. Because mostly when we listen to music, it's just background. It's just in the background. But now we want it within us, playing itself from within us, listening from a higher level of awareness. And so, my dear ones, that is it for today, believe it or not.